we have a brain, and it's great. It's the most beautiful like creation, though it also loves to mess with us. It loves to say, "Oh, for example, we feel like we should do something, but our head might say, "Oh, wait, but this, but this, but this, but this." You know, what if we didn't do that? What if we allowed things to process like through, like how in these moments of reflection, how things come through. We have we're just running a stream of consciousness. All these thoughts are flowing through effortlessly. What if we were to bring that into how we live our lives?
Hello, this is Voice Your Mind podcast from Listening. Welcome to our show where we talk about the unheard who have no one to share about their insecurities and past trauma, or even having difficulty opening up to people when feeling down. On this show, we will be discussing everything about mental health, depression, and suicide. We listening are just ordinary people who are or were in your similar state and are currently encouraging ourselves and learning to improve our state of mind. So here we are taking a step towards motivating you to get better with us every day of the week. So without any further delay, let's get started with the episode.
Welcome to today's episode, and our today's guest is Matt Caruana, and he is a mental health fitness facilitator. And today he will talk about a lot of things. Firstly, we are going to learn about him and his story, and we'll educate ourselves how can we get better with our mental health. And that's about it. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thanks. How about yourself?
Okay, I'm pretty great as well. Like pretty great. There was some technical issues just before we started, like always, like literally always.
You want to plan something, there's going to be an issue, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, let's start from the beginning. So tell me about your story. So where did everything started, and yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of my journey, it wasn't the prettiest, though mental health started for me when I was 12. When I was, I was growing up, I was Catholic upbringing, and I'd always hear, everyone had a purpose, that everything happened for a reason. And growing up Catholic, I was always taught that, I would find my purpose and my reason through God and through the Bible. I never resonated with that. I didn't like hearing that, but I wanted to know what my purpose was. Why did everyone have a purpose? I didn't know mine. So I asked myself, what was the meaning of my life? Well, why was I here? But I didn't know how to answer that. And that led me down a rabbit hole because I then asked myself, well, if I was dead, would anything actually change? And, if I, I mean, I don't know how to answer that, right? Right. It's still, again, a hard question to wrap my head around. So I asked myself, well, if purpose is about giving and contributing to others, how can I, you know, do I play any role in society to actually add any value? And that's when I had an answer because I was 12. I lived at home with my parents, had no job. I felt like I was just taking up space, which meant that if I was gone and dead, nothing would actually change. There'd just be more space for someone else. And that my life meant nothing. I became depressed because of that, because of those questions. And I tell you, I was dwelling on them for hours and hours and hours, wanting to change it, but I couldn't. Nothing else seemed truthful. And that's when my depression really kicked off. And I wasn't talking about it because no one spoke about their emotions. Everyone kept things to themselves. And so I was the exact same. Right. And that's how things got started. Though when you're experiencing all this pain, you don't really want to be experiencing it. Right. And already I'm not telling anyone. I'm trying to hide how I'm feeling from everyone else in the world. I naturally went and sought after other things that could, hide the pain for me. And not long after, this is now 6 months later, I'm 13, and now I've developed a drug addiction. Started dealing to keep it up, and that was a world in itself. But I was blessed that my girlfriend at the time got me out of extremely bad habits that I had, not all of them, though I was still heavily depressed and scared, even because, it's now been over a year of experiencing this, and I'm in all this pain. But, anyways, let's just say she got me off dealing, and she got me stopping coke. I wasn't doing those things anymore. And, you know, I feel lost because I thought that the one thing that was going to help me, the one thing that was going to fix me is now gone. And so I picked up other habits and I started, going to the gym, playing guitar, DJing, and I loved it. Though one thing in particular I really want to focus on just for a moment is the gym. Now, Abdallah, I'm sure you've gone to the gym before, and it's
I
people
have
there
not.
to. Oh, you
I
haven't?
haven't.
Okay, okay.
No.
Well, perfect then. Perfect.
I work out at home, so I've been working I have doing my workouts at home for like 6 years or so, but haven't gone to the gym yet.
Hey, it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot
Yeah,
cheaper. Hey.
yeah, absolutely it is.
Yeah, but
Okay.
the reason I brought up the gym was because at this stage I'm extremely skinny. I'm scrawny as, and I'm insecure. Though I wanted to get bigger because, and the thing was, when I started training, everyone gave me all this recognition. They kept, making me feel good. Oh, Matt, you've gotten so big. Oh, Matt, you're looking great. Matt, you're so ripped. All this stuff, right? Over and over and over again. I loved it. And so I kept at it, right? And now at the end of that year, the end of 2014, I made a decision. So I'm now 14 years old. I am going to be the biggest kid at my school. I knew for a fact. I was so obsessed with this one idea. I wanted to be the biggest kid at school. And I had a goal. I wanted to make that not only be the biggest kid, but have a photo on Facebook. And so I was training. In 8 months, I put on 30 kilos. In 4 months, I dropped 20. And just for this one photo. And you know what? I tell you what, I looked great. The start of 2016, man, I was big, I was ripped, I was looking great, and everyone believed it, right? Everyone loved it. I got all this attention, right? All the likes, the comments, the friend requests, the girls inboxing me, everything, right? And trying to feed and trying to, validate myself by other people. People saying, "Oh, you're big," and you look at how good you look, all this stuff made me feel great. Well, so I thought, all right. I got into the gym though because I was insecure. That only fed my insecurities because I was never enough. I was constantly chasing the external validation. I never validated myself from within. Anyways, here's this photo. I put it on Facebook. Everyone believes I'm the most confident, ripped, hard, whatever guy in the world. All the external validation I got was not enough. Because a week after, now, this was a Saturday, January 9th, 2016, like quite a slow day. I didn't really want to, let's just say, look, like I didn't start the day well, very sluggish. And some things were out of character for me that day. I wasn't going to the gym. I woke up extremely late. That was really out of character for me. And that night, I snuck out of my house because I made a decision. I've been feeling like this for 4 years. Why am I still here? Why am I still feeling this and not? Why do I believe this and not take action on it? And let's just say, all the pain that I was experiencing for this 4 years brought me to a point where I said I'd had enough, and I went and attempted suicide by jumping off a building. And I woke up in hospital 2 weeks later. Thinking the same thought over and over. I was, I didn't want any of this to come about, and I was worthless beforehand. The fact that I failed at the one thing I wanted to do, how pathetic am I now? I'll tell you what, there was no word that could express the amount of self-hate, I couldn't live with myself. I really hated it. And, I go into the spinal ward like a month later, and everyone is just asking the same question. Matt, you're 16 years old. What are you doing with a spinal cord injury? Why are you in hospital? And everyone on the ward said the same thing. They'll have their accidents. I couldn't say that, even though I did. They'd always ask, well, what happened? All right, well, I had a fall. That's all I would say. But even, people that came to visit me, even complete strangers, they wanted to know what happened. But I said the same thing. Had an accident, had a fall. That's all I would say. I couldn't come to terms with the fact that I'd failed. Because, I really was ashamed, I suppose. And I was, embarrassed. Though it was a week before I left hospital that actually started to shift things for me. It was this guy, right? So I was with my mum. We went to, we caught a train because I wanted to get some piercings that day. I've been asking her for, quite a while. I really want to get these piercings. And she said yes. And got these 2 dermals on my eyebrow. I was, happy. I was actually smiling. And on the train ride back to the hospital, man, like this guy now, like, I'm not sure what you guys call them. We call them bogans. Some people call them rednecks. Let's just say this guy walked on the train halfway through, and before he even sits down, he looks to his right, and he's like, "What did you do to yourself? Look at you, God!" And like, right? And I mean, like, he's loud. Like, I'm not doing it any justice right now, but I don't know what it was. I swear to you, it was a mixture of how happy I was with my piercings and how abrupt he was, how loud he was. It just came out. I told him I attempted suicide, and he gives me a funny look and laughs at me and says, "That was pretty fucking stupid. Look at you now. You're in a wheelchair." Like, he really started laughing at me, right? I laugh about it now. I laugh about it. It's funny, but the next day.
Okay. So reflect on that like situation. So usually when you say someone, "Hey, I committed suicide," they feel sad. So the complete opposite thing happened that day. So how did it feel? Did reflect on it?
Like in the moment,
Yep.
man, I'm feeling like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, what is he saying? Like, I don't know I didn't know how to take it. I was in such an, like, it was confronting. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I felt really awkward. And get this, he sits across from me and decides to have a conversation after that. He wants to have a chat, of course. And yeah, it wasn't the prettiest thing in the world, but it felt very awkward. I felt very confused, and I felt intimidated more than anything because I didn't know how to take it. Though the next morning, I didn't feel that. I actually felt light. It was really strange, right? Because I just out of the blue decided to see my social worker, and this is the first time I've seen her without her having to chase me up. I shared the truth with her, like what happened with the guy on the train, showed off my piercings, everything, how I felt that morning as well, and like let's just say she challenged me. She said, "Matt, okay, do you think there's something there in that?" I'm like, what are you talking about? She says, "Matt, you opened up to a complete stranger on a train, told them the truth, for the first person you told in 4 months, by the way, and you woke up feeling lighter. What if you could open up to the people close to you in life? I don't know, Matt, could you potentially strengthen the relationship you already have with them?" Now, I swear, that question will never leave my head because at the time I didn't want to hear it. I didn't like talking. I hadn't talked really ever. I was always keeping things to myself. Though what she said really left a mark on me because I couldn't stop thinking about it. And sure enough, my girlfriend at the time visited me that night, and yeah, I told her the truth. I was like, "Look, yeah, this is how I'm feeling. This is what's really going on." She knew, obviously, I wasn't doing well, given I'm in hospital. I attempted suicide, obviously. But it's like, I'd always lied. And there she said, "Matt, I've never felt closer to you. And Matt, I've never loved you more. Thank you for sharing." And though I can't bring to words how I felt in that moment But let's just say I was bucketing in tears, but I was extremely confused as well. But everything in my head had been completely challenged. 4 months ago, I was looking perfect. I was ripped. I was muscular. I looked great. All this stuff had all the attention in the world, popular, or everything. Now I'm in hospital. I'm scrawny, skinny, another 20 kilos lighter, and I'm in a wheelchair. All these injuries. I can't function or feel half my body. And she's saying she's never felt closer to me and she's never loved me more. Those words reached me so like deeply in my heart. And honestly, I was so, yeah. And my social worker was right. So I started talking to some of my friends, started talking to my parents as well. I never thought I would, but I did. And my relationships did get closer. It was actually quite cool. But don't get me wrong, I'm still depressed. Like my issue really is still lingering. I still feel worthless. Though it was the end of that year, my social worker, she asked me if I wanted to, if I was open to an opportunity to share my story to about 30 or so young people. And I mean, I never liked talking, but I remember like it was, I remember it clear as day, being in that room with her. There was this feeling in my heart that said, Matt, what if you helped someone? How would it feel? And honestly, I can't, like, man, that that thought, that feeling, I just said yes without even thinking. Don't ask why. But it was the 3 months after was my first time sharing. March 2017. Oh man, I was so scared. I was so scared. And like, I mean, I constantly thinking like, what are they all thinking of me? And yeah, as I'm there shaking afterwards, like I'm just in my head. I just don't want to make eye contact with anyone. They end up coming up to me, these young people. They end up thanking me. They said, Matt, you inspired me. And Matt, I got a lot from it. And some said they want to help their friends as a result. And the reason, like, yeah, the reason I'm really choking up right now is because that moment it was so much for me, because I believed I was worthless for 5 years, that I'm a waste of space. And then for the first time, I felt like I was of value, that I actually I actually contributed to someone. And it's like this good angel, bad angel, like going off in my own head, right? It's like, you're worthless, you're this, you're that. But then there's also this other voice saying, no, Matt, you inspired someone. There was something there in that. And dude, I mean, I was just in tears, like, like afterwards. Like I hid it from everyone, but like I was just, when I was by myself, I just bucketed tears. I became grateful slowly. Just in that moment, I had a glimpse of gratitude for my injury. You know, the worst thing that ever happened to me. You know, attempting suicide and ending up in a fucking wheelchair. Pardon French. It was so much for me, and that maybe I was of value. Maybe I could do something, right? Maybe this wasn't as bad as it seemed. I kept at the program, and eventually I was like, I want to go into work. I want to do my own workshops. I want to go to schools, conferences. I want to be going to corporates. I want to be running workshops for parents that they can support their young kids. I'm in the process also of writing my book, and once that's done as well, like I know that's going to add so much value. And don't get me wrong, it's not like a split decision. Oh, I'm no longer depressed because I'm now of value. No, it was a process. But what the process was, that if only I'd known back then what I know now, if only I had matched what I love with what I did every day. When I found speaking and found it, it's something I truly loved. I wasn't speaking every day. I wasn't. And I don't speak every day to this day. Right? I'm not running workshops every day. But what I am doing every day is working towards it. I'm taking steps each and every day towards what I love, because I know it fulfills me. And down the line, it didn't happen right away, like I said, but eventually I would no longer be depressed. And I mean this, and I say this with absolute conviction. I'm no longer depressed, anxious, or suicidal. Do I still have bad days? I still get emotional. Of course I do. Hell, parts of my story still trick me up to this day. It's been 6 years. though I would not change anything in my life. I'm very grateful for the fact that I am in the position that I am. Yes, the wheelchair is a part of what I'm grateful for as well. Do I think I'll walk again? Absolutely, I will. Though things had to be the way they did for me. It's not a good thing at all. No one else should have to go through suicide. It breaks my heart when I hear other people that do. But for me, I needed to go through what I did so I'm able to be the example for other people so they don't have to go through similar things.
Okay, so in 30 seconds, this is a challenge for you. In 30 seconds, reflect on the whole thing. Like the whole story, just 30 seconds. You have just 30 seconds and reflect on it. So, what's the current feeling that you are having right now, just by thinking about your story, the whole process?
So you cut out a little bit there for me. Sorry, can you
Okay, so you have 30 seconds to reflect on your whole story and the process.
mm,
Okay. Okay, are you ready?
yep.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. I became depressed at 12 years old. I'd asked for a purpose. I fell into drugs. I then attempted suicide. Though I'm in the position that I am now. And the thing is, I now have a purpose. I'm now adding value to society. I know I am. Maybe I actually needed, maybe I asked for this. Maybe I'm in the perfect position that I am now, which I am, because what I asked for is what I've got. I have purpose. Yeah, holy shit.
Oh, oh, wasn't this amazing? Just reflecting on it for such short time.
I mean, yeah. It's interesting because and like no one's ever asked me that before. No one's ever and I'm honestly really glad you said that because no, yeah, I am in the position that I like. I am in the perfect position, and it wasn't. Hell, like achieving purpose in life. That takes like a lifetime. Some people don't even find their purpose in their life. I asked for it at such a young age, and like I was in a way looking for it, right? And I needed to go through what I did to get to where I'm at. Yeah, dude. Sorry, I'm much rambling now, but yeah, man. Like,
I love it. I truly love it how you're saying this. Mm, if you have thought about it a lot, you wouldn't have rambled. So you're thinking, so your like mind is going all around the place. That's why like rambling, right? This and that. I always do that. So I know how this feels like in this situation. I
yeah.
I would have said or I would have said that you asked for a purpose and stuff after like before it like question, but you said it already because you already have this in the head. This is what I have learned so far. Everything that you want to say right now, or like eh, any problem, or like let's say any problem you're facing right now is already in yourself. Anything.
Mm.
You have to reflect on it. Reflect on it time to time, and on the right time, it just comes up.
In the most beautiful way. It just comes through. It's like you don't even think. It just comes.
It just comes because it's always there. It's always there. It never went other way. It's just always there. You have just to see it. I mean, like think about it, like, but
Yeah.
it's a different
I
way of
actually,
saying.
yeah. I actually think that's a really good point to also bring into for in terms of mental health, right? Like allowing ourselves to not filter with this, right? The thing about like humans, right? We have a brain, and it's great. It's the most beautiful like creation, though it also loves to mess with us. It loves to say, oh, for example, we feel like we should do something, but our head might say, oh, wait, but this, but this, but this, but this. You know, what if we didn't do that? What if we allowed things to process like through, like how in these moments of reflection, how things come through. We have we're just running a stream of consciousness. All these thoughts are flowing through effortlessly. What if we were to bring that into how we live our lives. If we were to feel into ourselves more, allowing ourselves to, be in the moment, allow things to flow through, i.e., if we're experiencing an emotion, allowing ourselves to feel it. If we're having a thought, allowing ourselves to express it as well. Like those sort of things, just like how we can do that in reflection, we can do that in our lives as well. And the reason I bring this up, when I was in hospital, I was forced to feel to feel my emotions. I was not able to run away and escape. I wasn't able to go and get high like I used to, or go to the gym and just work myself out till I would throw up or whatever. But I had to be with me, right? I'm in a hospital bed for 4 months, basically, right? And that's that. And relating that back to allowing things to flow is experiencing emotions is so key. We need to feel. If the first step to healing is feeling, and if we don't feel what's really going on, we're denying the truth. We're suppressing ourselves. But the second step, firstly, we have experiencing. The next step, so we're feeling, and now we're expressing our emotions, right? Being comfortable to open up to someone close to us, share them. Life's already an uphill battle. Why walk up that hill with bricks in your backpack? Take them out, right? That way you're able to, go through life. It's still a challenge, but you're doing it more efficiently. You're doing it so you have some support as well, which we all need.
Okay, a really interesting thing that you said was, um, interesting. Actually, this is a question. Okay, so do you feel or do you think it's easier to share your emotions or feelings with strangers than the close ones?
Yeah. It's interesting you ask that because, and my answer is probably going to confuse you, but I would say personally, it's different for everyone, but personally, I would say I feel more comfortable opening up with those close to me. Now, the reason, I mean, but then look at my story. The first person I told the truth to was a complete stranger, right? He just happened to get it out of me. Like, if I'm honest, he just broke my state. He was just so blunt. He had no filter. It just, I mean, it came out. So I suppose in that moment, I didn't really have a filter. Though, if I'm talking in the context of right now, the people that I'm close with, they know me back to front. They know me like in the moment what's going on as well. And I feel comfortable expressing with them personally. And most people don't know how to do it. And if you're not comfortable with people in person, if it's someone close to you, you could maybe ring a hotline. You could even if you don't want to talk, there's even online services where you can text for support for free. There are services out there. There are mental health, you know, organizations that are doing these initiatives that have these programs that have these like centers and like numbers we can contact. Remember, the first step towards feeling is healing, but then experiencing is and expressing. We need to be experiencing our emotions and expressing them, sharing them, allowing ourselves to, and we have things that we love. For example, if like creative stuff like guitar for me, or like cooking or something, that's a way of expressing your emotions too. You might play in a certain way, you might bake in a certain, I don't know. There's ways of experiencing and expressing, is what I'm saying.
Okay, there are two things here. One is like expressing that you said, and the one is like doing something just to avoid that expression. So
Mm.
in your case, you said that you actually said both. So cooking is a way of expressing. The way you bake is a way of expressing. However, you said you used to get high or like went to the gym just to avoid that expressing feelings. So how can someone actually select a habit to just to express it, not to avoid it, avoid that emotion or feeling?
The first thing I would say is don't find something, sit with it, allow yourself to actually feel it and experience it. So remember, the first step is experiencing, then expressing. So you need firstly sit with the emotion, allow yourself to feel it, and then express. Now you can express through music, whatever instrument you can, whether you want to share it with someone, whether you want to, I don't know. There's many ways of expressing. I'm just sharing like what I do, right? I play guitar. I meditate. Meditate is actually a really good one because it forces you to sit with you, to feel what's going on. And if we understand and feel our emotions, we have a better understanding of ourselves, what's going on. And when we want to approach some support, it's easier for us to articulate what's really going on because, we've actually felt the emotion. We've actually, allowing ourselves to accept what's really there.
Absolutely. So how can someone? I there is one thing though that I want to add, or like not add, but say I actually don't know how to meditate properly, or like. So do you actually sit and just do nothing, or?
There's no right or wrong. And this is where meditation. Everyone does it their own way. That's the thing. No one there's no perfect way to meditate. If you want to sit there with your legs crossed, with your fingers like saying okay, on a rock on some mountain, you do you. If you want to sit in silence in your own space, you do you. If you want to listen to someone guiding your meditation, you do you. If you want to do breath work, do that. There's no right or wrong. There's only what you resonate with. So the reason meditation, I believe, is really powerful is because it trains us to be in the present moment. It's training us to be okay with what is, not expecting things to be a certain way, not thinking in the future, trying to anticipate things. Maybe we feel anxious, right? Because things are coming up. We don't know what things are going to look like. I'm feeling nervous, whatnot. Or thinking about the past. You're going into things that we maybe regret or wish were different, or things that make us upset, right? Avoiding those things, and for just now in the moment and being present with ourselves, we start to realize that peace is actually within us. And it's always been there. We've just avoided it.
Okay, so I'm still trying to think how how to meditate, like.
How to meditate?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
as you said, like there is no way, no fixed way, or no fixed right way to to meditate. However, still, like, what's the aim of what's so how do you even call something a meditation if there's no way to actually justify it? So, so one example is one example. Let's say I used to go on the rooftop and just uh, look at the nature and appreciate it. Will this be called a meditation, or there's another?
Yeah, I
Let's
would
say.
say so.
Okay, so again, that it is completely different. I used to go outside alone, literally, like there were people on the road, and I used to walk. There was everyone around. I used to walk just alone. Will this be called a meditation?
So my definition of meditation is anything that brings you into the present moment. So both those things, I would say yes, because they're bringing you into the now. You're appreciating the nature. You're spending time by yourself. You're out. You're moving. Though if you can be aware of your mind in these moments as well. Nature has a beautiful way of bringing us into the present moment. Nature has a beautiful way of getting us out of our heads and appreciating things. It's it's like the essence of life. There's nothing. That's why meditation is so great to talk about. There's no right or wrong. It's whatever brings you into the present moment. That's how I view it, at least.
Okay, that's interesting. So I'm trying to understand meditation, and I think I understand a bit about meditation right now, because I know or I was always meditating in the past, or like even these days. I just don't know, because I don't know the definition of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this would be a challenge for all the listeners or the viewers. Uh, try doing anything that brings you to the present moment. Walk alone, or sit and just think about, reflect on it for the next 7 days. 10 to 20 minutes,
If
or
you, yes, sir.
10,
Sir.
yeah, 10 to 20 minutes, or like even 5 minutes if it's
Yeah,
okay. Like,
and anything will help. And if you don't know where to start, why not just start by focusing on your breath? Feel into your heart. How does your breath feel in your body? All that stuff, and be present with you. So what being present means is your everything that's happening now you're aware of, right? So this would be everything that you can see. If you have your eyes closed, all right, so what can you hear? What can you smell? What can you taste? What do you feel? Outside of your body, even inside your body, whatever. But it's about tuning into everything now. Meditation tends to be easier when you do close your eyes, though. It takes out the bit. Our vision is like 80% of our sensory input anyway. So take that out. You're easier to be present.
there are a lot of people who can actually, like keep their eyes open and just meditate.
Oh
Like
yeah,
they,
definitely.
I can't. As of now, I can't. Maybe, but by the definition that you said, maybe I can, but not to an extent that I'm like reflecting continuously for 20, 30, 40 minutes. Like not in that way yet, at least.
Yeah, and the thing is, right? Not every like you like at first you're going to notice your mind's going to be fighting you. It's going to say, it's going to bring you back to thoughts like whether it's the past or the future or something that's going to happen today or whatever, or something that happened yesterday. Thoughts are going to come up. That's okay. We all have this mind that wants to keep throwing thoughts at us. Though what we're doing by meditating is we're slowing it down. When we're slowing our brain down, that brain, our mind wants to fight us. So if we just allow it to be, sit in it, don't judge it, and just accept the thoughts and everything that's happening, we are present. But yeah.
Okay, so do this for the next 7 days. For everyone who is watching or listening, do it. That's it.
I would say start with 5-10 minutes in the morning. Yeah.
Okay, even if it's night, that's okay. So
And not.
people will procrastinate. I procrastinated a lot. So when I tried, so I'll say this: even if it's night, that's okay. Just before you sleep, that's okay. You sleep in that process, even that's great. That's okay. Just do
Yeah.
it for the next 7 days.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay, that was about it. Okay, so so we talk a lot about everything. Okay, so where can our listeners find you online?
Yeah, so my website is www.mattcaruana.com. So that's MATTCARUANA.com. My Instagram is Matt Shares, and my Facebook and LinkedIn are Matthew Caruana.
Okay, great. So the links will be in the description of it, like description of YouTube or any podcast platform that you are listening at. So that's about it for today. Or anything that is there anything you'd like to share, uh, as like any last word you'd like to share before leaving, or like before we end it?
Yeah, and it's that I want you to know wherever you're at, whether you're struggling, whether you're doing well, whether you're frustrated, no matter what, whatever you're feeling, whatever place you're in, it is perfect. It is okay. It's okay, and please don't judge yourself for feeling like if you get up, if you get down, please don't judge yourself. For so long, I judged myself, avoided the emotions, and I believed I shouldn't feel them and that I should hide them because they shouldn't be there. No, no, no. You don't fight fire with fire. You don't. You by accepting the emotion, by not judging it, not judging yourself. It's that first step that allows because you're experiencing your emotion and then you're expressing. Please don't judge yourself. No support's out there. Please do what you love. I'm open to anything if you guys want to reach out. I'll answer any questions.
Okay, absolutely, that was amazing. So we that's it for today. Again, our today's guest was Matt Caruana. He's a fitness facilitator, and this was your host Mahmoud. Do the 7 days challenge for the next 7 days, and let us know about the results. How you reflect on it. Reflect on those 7 days that you practice, or every second day if you want. That's about it. This was your host Mahmoud again, signing off.
And that's the end of today's episode. I know taking action is quite a hard job to do, so I hope the advice and insights we got today will help you to take the leap of faith and pursue your dreams. You can share your story with us through the first link in the description box, and don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on the Apple Podcast. We will come back with another episode. Till then, keep healing, learning, and growing. Thank you.